Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today we're going to be talking about ICP because so much really bullish information has come out recently. We've got a partnership with HBAR, which is really good to see. We're going to be talking a little bit about that, what that could mean for both HBAR as well as ICP. So a lot of really interesting stuff there, as well as DeepSeek. I know I just made a video this morning talking about DeepSeek. We got a little bit more of how that is applicable directly to ICP as well. So a lot of really interesting and bullish things happening for ICP. This is the type of stuff that I absolutely love to see and makes me really fundamentally bullish on a project. In my opinion, it's like, so much of crypto is driven off of hype and like the hype cycles and the narratives and all this type of stuff. And so much of just like the fundamentals are frankly ignored in my opinion. But if we look at ICP, I would say it's exactly the opposite. There's like negative amounts of hype going for ICP, but there's so many fundamentally really bullish things happening for ICP that's awesome to see. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. We've got a lot to go over today, so let's go on ahead. We'll dive right in. Taking a look at crypto bubbles first, we can see a pretty nice bounce on the day. We did see a really strong pullback to the downside, and so this is just kind of the resulting bounce from that. When we look at the ICP chart, we will see that ICP up about 5% on the day. Some others up pretty decently as well, though. Overall, like I said, a pretty green day on the market. We are red on the week. This has kind of been flipping between green and red. I think this is mainly because the majority of the market is red and it is down, but we do have some really green bubbles up here that might be kind of buoying the average overall. And so I think if we were to take, the mean, it might be, barely red, barely green, but if we take the median, it's probably pretty comfortably red. So that's kind of how the crypto bubbles are looking so far. If we do look at the ICP chart, we will go in and check out what is going on here. So a couple of different things. Obviously, we can see this descending trend line still holding fairly firm. As we talked about recently, this was kind of the zone that we were looking to hold, kind of between like $9.50 to $10. $10 really was the mark we were trying to hold, but we did see some wicks and some bars down in, kind of down in and around this, but always kind of bouncing back up above 10. This is the first time where we've seen a sustained move below the $10 mark. So obviously, not the best news. It does look overall though, like we still are starting to see price consolidate. We are definitely towards the bottom of the Bollinger Bands here. We could see that it actually did come outside of the Bollinger Bands on the daily, which, as I said, whenever we see Bollinger Bands come out, or whenever we see the wicks or candles come out of the Bollinger Bands on the daily, usually means we're probably going to see a move in the other direction pretty quickly. We have seen a little bit of that so far. Unfortunately, I did miss this wick, which I was very sad about. I'm always looking to pick up discounted ICP, and seeing something in the low $8, I'd have been very pleased with. So a little bit sad about that one, but overall what we can see is we are seeing some consolidation here. So I think even though we didn't kind of get the best outcome, which would have been kind of hold this $10 line, we are still seeing some consolidation here, which I think overall is pretty good. If we can't really kind of hold, we are kind of in the middle of a no man's land right now, right? And so if we can't actually bounce back up into this zone, we're probably going to come back and be settling on this about 840 to 850 range. That's probably my expectation. If we drop below this, we are probably looking at about $6.80. So that's probably the next major place that we could find support. So obviously, we've got some smaller levels of support here and there, kind of this $7.70 range could probably be another one where we could find some support. But, the major level is down here at kind of the 680. So we'll have to see what happens, with the ICP chart. Overall, obviously hasn't been looking great over the past couple of months. But if we do look at the larger time span, we're largely up above where we were kind of before this pump. So things still are looking good for now. Obviously, we can see RSI in the weak to oversold. Not oversold quite yet, but we are definitely in weak territory. So, we will see kind of what goes on over the next couple of months. Crypto generally is kind of, it's been in a lot of a descending trend ever since we saw that really strong move after the U.S. election. And so, nothing really been too strong since then. I would say probably XRP being the main leader, everything, and probably, Bitcoin, of course, but everything else not really performing. Solana. How could I forget Solana? Solana's done very well as well. But those three, are probably the market leaders. Other than that, the overall market, I would say, has not done particularly well. Obviously, we've got the small ones here and there that have done quite well, but overall, I would say that the market is not done particularly strongly. So anyway, if you are interested in trading ICP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, anything like that, I do still have that link in the description below. If you are interested, just check that out. We are still doing that 10% bonus on first-time deposits. I love free money. I'm sure you do as well. So if you're looking for free money, that would be a great way to get some. Also, extra bonuses up to $10,055 per user. So really, really strong deal there as well. And also no VPN or KYC necessary. So if that is important to you, then they also have that as well. So like I said, just check the link in the description below if you are interested. Now moving on, I've got kind of a whole different list of X posts to go over because we've got a bunch of different things to talk about today. So first off, we can see a post from Dominic Williams, obviously at ICP. He came out with this massive post from Caffeine AI. He talks about a lot of different things here. It's very, very long. Obviously, we'll kind of go over the highlights here. These are kind of like the main benefits to Caffeine AI. Obviously, it's kind of like using the English language, or any language for that matter, human language, I think is how they phrase it, to code on the internet. So you don't really even need to know a coding language. Just natural language is now the coding language, which is pretty cool. So you obviously you get sovereignty, you get tamper-proof security because you are on the ICP network. It's updatable in production. So if you have something that you want to change, your background's green and you want to make it red, you could do that. It's also trustless in Web3, which is another great thing. So as you can see, very, very, very long post. If you are interested in reading this, I would highly recommend that you do. Again, I don't know why. It's showing that I haven't reposted, but I have. I've actually quoted it as well. So if you want to check that out, just check the link in the description below for my X account. I will post, I periodically post a whole bunch of different stuff of just interesting things and news and all that type of stuff coming out in crypto. And so yeah, if you want to check that out, go there. You can take a look at my profile, and also you can follow me as well, if you are interested. So really, really good post here from Dominic Williams. Like I said, it's a massive post, so check that out on your own time if you are interested. Also, we can see that this is also very, very cool. We can see the first AI agent to be listed on DeepSeek AI's official GitHub repository is running on the Internet Computer Protocol as a smart contract. That's obviously very cool. DeepSeek is something that we talked about actually earlier in the video this morning about how that's really kind of shaken up the whole world. They've open sourced it, so there's a lot of people, you can essentially do whatever you want with the source model. So that's been really cool. Obviously, we're seeing people on ICP already implement this, which is really, really neat. And we can see, the reason why I talk about this in far more depth in my video this morning. We can see, this is kind of why DeepSeek has been shaking up the world, is because OpenAI, obviously proprietary data, Google Gemini, proprietary model, Llama, I believe they've open sourced theirs, but I don't think it's as good as OpenAI or Gemini or anything like those. So what we can see is this is a model that's effectively on par with OpenAI's most latest and greatest model, but it's open source. And it was also far cheaper to create. And so the fact that something that is essentially somewhat equivalent to ChatGPT is running on ICP as a smart contract and an AI agent, that's really cool. So I just want to kind of point that out to you as well. That, this is really interesting. I think we're going to see a lot of crazy things happening with crypto generally because of this DeepSeek model. Because essentially what we're getting with DeepSeek is, like I said, we're getting ChatGPT capability, but anybody can use it. Anybody can create their own AI agent. A lot of what we've seen in crypto is the AI agents aren't particularly that good, just because, again, the open source AI models aren't fantastic. And so there's a lot of people kind of trying to do the best with what they've got, or they're linking in and using, the API credits with OpenAI or Gemini or something like that. So the fact that, this is actually open source and people can use it is really awesome. So anyway, that's kind of what we're seeing with DeepSeek and how that's working with ICP. I think is really, really cool. The next thing I did want to focus a little bit more time on here is HBAR and ICP. So obviously we had some news coming out at Davos at the WEF, the World Economic Forum, that ICP and HBAR are actually teaming up and partnering, which is really, really interesting. I think this is kind of where we get to this larger like big picture how crypto could be. And in my opinion, this might have been the first step of ICP essentially becoming like the layer 0, right? They've kind of already taken some steps, I would say, to get there. But I think like HBAR, which is a cryptocurrency that I think has double, might even be close to triple ICP's market cap. The fact that they're partnering with a smaller chain and essentially building on top of their chain is like pretty impressive, right? And so I think that one, not only is that really great news and kind of a confirmation of the value that ICP can provide, but this is also kind of like the start of the layer 0 that potentially ICP could be. If we think about kind of like their chain key technology and how you can already move, like think about the benefit for HBAR. Like HBAR can now build on Bitcoin because of ICP, right? Like that's cool. People on Bitcoin can now build on HBAR because of ICP. People on Ethereum can now integrate with HBAR because of ICP, right? Like all of this, like ICP is a thing that makes all of this type of stuff happen. And so obviously, you know, I think all of these different chains working together is really, really important. Obviously, there are people trying to win the like layer 0 game, which makes it, you know, a little bit, maybe potentially like a bit of an ego battle there. We can see here that HBAR also recently released their Asset Tokenization Studio, which is an open source toolkit for the configuration, issuance, and management of tokenized securities and equities on the Hedera network. This is interesting too, because essentially now that Hedera is integrated with ICP, they can integrate with their ICP DAO framework. So now you could essentially have asset tokenization kind of linked in with DAOs. Could be pretty cool to see what goes on there. Also, going back, I want to take a quick look. I have liked and reposted this. This is an 8-minute video of Jerry Banfield. A lot of you guys I know are super strong like ICP supporters, so you very likely have, I guarantee you know who Jerry Banfield is, and you very likely may have already seen this video. But he actually does a really great job of explaining why this is such a big deal. He talks about some of the layer 0 stuff that we also talked about in this video, but also he talks about some like how we could see this kind of start to have a snowball effect, right? Because effectively what's going on here, again, I'll leave him to do most of the explaining there, but effectively what's going on here is like if HBAR integrates with ICP and HBAR, because right now I think there's kind of like a black mark on ICP, right? So ICP could just, they could take over the world of crypto and everybody would still kind of discount them a little bit. There's a lot of hype, there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of things like that going on with HBAR right now. And so I think if HBAR integrates with ICP and people can see that HBAR is now really moving and they're essentially out competing the competition, then I think we're going to start to see people wake up to the fact of like, oh, maybe ICP really does have something that is super cool, and like basically we can't hope to compete without it. And then at that point, that's when more people start to potentially partner and join in on the ICP overall, like I guess you could call it a super ecosystem at this point. And then of course, like as more networks get involved, that's when it becomes even easier, and it's like the super ecosystem becomes even more super, right? And then it's more of like, well, now you have to be on ICP because there's just no way that you can outcompete like this whole conglomerate of all of these different things that all integrate with each other and all this type of stuff. I think it's very easy to see that like we need an open, like permissionless, but also like unified way to interact throughout all these different ecosystems. The biggest issue we have right now in crypto is that liquidity is so fractured. And obviously we've got bridges, there's, you know, intense base bridging, and there's a lot of different stuff that people are trying to do to fix this. But ICP and their, you know, very complex and capable smart contract system could maybe just solve all of this if people partner with ICP and allow them to like use the canisters and integrate, do all the APIs, that type of stuff. This is potentially how we could see the future of crypto unwinding. And so really cool. I would, you know, whenever I see announcements and partnerships and stuff like that, I'm always very excited. Obviously DeepSeek really disrupting the world. If we start to see a lot of people building DeepSeek on ICP, because ICP is able to support AI models like that, obviously, you know, a mass adoption type of event there. HBAR, you know, I wouldn't say it's a mass adoption type of event, but it's something where people are definitely going to get their eyes kind of turned toward ICP, which is pretty cool. And then also, you know, we've got Caffeine AI, which really, really could be a mass adoption type of event. Again, you know, depending on the timeline and when it comes out and how it functions when it does come out, a lot of that type of stuff. So anyway, hopefully you found the information in this video useful. Obviously, there's a bunch of stuff that we went over today. So hopefully, you know, I covered it all in deep enough detail that you were able to understand it and kind of get the grasp of like what we were actually talking about. and why it's so important for ICP, because that's obviously the biggest thing. Really, really bullish news for ICP, but then also hopefully, you know, I wasn't being too basic about certain things as well. So anyway, like I said, a like and a subscribe really, really does go a long way. Also pushing it out further into the YouTube algorithm. This is kind of like an HBAR ICP, you know, kind of combo video. And so all of the support that I can get, you know, potentially pushes this out to more people who haven't seen or heard of ICP before. So I'd really appreciate your support there. Also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, feelings, whatever like that, just feel free to drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those. So if you have anything that you want me to see, that'd be a great way to do it. And also if you have any like clarifying questions or anything that you want me to answer, just drop those in the comment section below as well. I'll definitely get to those and try and give you the best answer that I can. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.